our radio show here on WAVS, and we're also going on YouTube at the same time. So we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we're on the actual radio. So hang with us. Should be interesting. We're gonna talk about real estate, real estate, real estate, and we hope that you will learn something. And we have the real estate queen here to share.
Yes.
So we're still waiting for the other show to finish, but because it's the first time, I'm just a little nervous about coordinating the switch over from the station while going live at the same time. So the first few minutes of this show is gonna be, based on the wait to get connected.
Well, we can keep talking.
Yeah, so
You want to tell everybody you just came from a big Indian wedding?
it was amazing. It was absolutely an incredible experience. And if you haven't been to a Indian wedding,
It's something you have to do once in your life.
absolutely.
And not yours.
Why not you?
If you're not Indian. If you're not doing it, that doesn't count.
Oh,
To be
okay.
present in an Indian wedding. And you were like one of the main guests, not...
It
You had
was
to
amazing.
participate in everything, right?
It was amazing.
He was the bride's uncle.
All right, here we go. That's the cue. Hey, 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 welcome, welcome, welcome. We are excited to be here this morning, sharing with you about everything that we know is going on in real estate and inviting you to tune in to share with us. We have some updates. We're back from our trip to India. Vanya, what do you want to say about India?
I am back! Everybody who missed me should give us at least a text message.
Yes,
I know
yes.
people missed me.
So-
I've come back after a whole month and traveling halfway across the world. And guess what I had my eyes on wherever I went? Real estate.
Real estate, real estate, real estate. Well, I'm going to take that cue from you because real estate in India is, all over the place. In fact, I was just looking this morning at where's Gir National Park. Tell us about Gir National Park, Vanya. What do you know about it?
Oh, it's basically, the lion population in India was declining.
Yeah.
And there was this one area that government introduced a few lions and said, we're going to make it into a national park. We're going to preserve the area. But the tribals in the area said they were not going to move out of there no matter what.
Right.
And they absolutely had no problem living with the lions because they believe in coexistence.
Yes.
And long story short, within 5 years, from lions going extinct in India because of the efforts of the government making this national park and the coexistence between the tribals of that village and how they all came into balance, the lion population over exceeded that they had to move some of the animals from there to other parts of India.
Now, how many people get eaten each year?
None,
basically?
none. It's funny because I was asking the locals and they said there is a very balanced arrangement. If you leave your animals unattended, absolutely, that's going to be a case. But remember, there are other animals there that the government introduced, like the deers and all. But it's like where we were. Remember, they said the lion would be spotted right outside the boundary wall.
So where we stayed was a mango plantation, and when I got there, so Vanya had gotten there before me, and when I got there, all I saw was mangoes. I saw a couple really some buildings and some lots and lots of mango trees. They weren't in season, so we couldn't pick any, but over the time that I was there, they started setting up, and at least 2.5 acres of flooring was covered in terms of just this is the stage, the area for dancing, where the food was, where the wedding procession would go.
All of that was next to the national park.
Right next to it. So one night, somebody said, hey, there was a lion just by the wall over the fence. If you look over the fence, you can see it. Now, when you go by the fence is like a little 6-foot fence that any lion could jump over, and you're like, whoa. But I was talking to the young man, one of the young men who lived there, and he was saying before some of the developments, he actually had seen lions stalking them in the bush. No lions attacked them, nobody got eaten, but lions were definitely there. It was really a really exciting trip. I'm waiting to get a video because there's no way I can fireworks, drumming, lights, just an amazing event, and I was right there in the middle of it. It was so exciting.
Performing the rituals. He was the bride's uncle.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of rituals he had to perform. That was so funny. And local people were finding him a celebrity. They were taking selfies. And I remember I was up there getting ready, and because my room was up there, and then I look down and I see him with a very short guy with his hand on Dax's shoulder like this and taking a picture. It was just
Yeah. So they said, where are you from? I said, Jamaica. They said, oh, in Africa. I said, no, West Indies. Everybody knew where we were when we said cricket, because they're very familiar with cricket.
Cricket is the next religion there.
Oh yeah. So now listen, we want to talk about real estate. We want to talk about home ownership, and something happened to me. Vanya has family in Goa, and she was excited about not moving to Goa, but purchasing something in Goa. I was not as comfortable or clear about the market there, but we had an opportunity to meet a very successful real estate agent in Goa, and he said something that just set off a light in my mind. In terms of, he said, after the pandemic and the idea of working from home took hold, the prices in Goa went up 100%. 100%. Vanya, you're in South Florida. Since the pandemic till now, how have the prices in Broward County, South Florida, done since the pandemic?
It's the same concept. If you look at how Goa is situated, right around.
Would you say 100% or?
Absolutely 100%. But Dax, one of the things that has happened in South Florida, especially, and I'm sure that has happened in Goa too. I'm not sure if Goa got that thing. South Floridians, locals, they don't even realize what a gold mine they're sitting on.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did the prices go up in South Florida, and are still, even with the high interest rates, we cannot keep a property in the market, a good property, a well-priced property, more than a week.
Right.
The rents have gone up so much. I mean, the rents was it yesterday we collected?
Yes.
We executed.
You have to talk about that couple, because we have a lot of clients. We don't discuss their business on the air, but they have done something very, very interesting. That after the pandemic, she's a nurse.
Yeah.
She got a job. She was making crazy money. Lots of nurses out there know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of them save up the money. Some of them spent the money. She invested her money. How many properties did she buy?
She bought 2. So I met her about 5 years ago when she was just out of school, about to get her. She'd already gotten her first job as a nurse, and her fiance back then had gotten his CDL and was taking a job as a truck driver. So they had promising income, and they were expecting their first child. Mm-hmm. And we met, and then we had several options, but we waited and we found the right townhouse. This was about 5 years ago in the heart of Pembroke Pines. Mm-hmm. That townhouse alone today came out to be such an amazing investment. Well, when the pandemic happened and she got into this whole thing of making a lot of extra money, and her husband actually had to stop working because she took a traveling job.
Okay.
So even with that, with only one income, they were able to save significant amount of money. And they come back to me expecting their second child. And we took that money and very smartly, I told them, follow my lead and you will have a portfolio for these little babies that you're raising.
Yeah.
And today, we bought 2 properties last year. They are both rented. They're both putting money in their pocket. They have their primary home with a ton of equity in Pembroke Pines. And before 2023 ends, they're going to move into their dream home, like a nice big single family, and rent the townhouse in Pembroke Pines.
Right.
That's going to, be putting a lot more money. And that those are the things that I want to discuss, being away for a month and looking at things from all perspective. Work didn't stop for me, we've
Right.
been working.
Sure.
But guys, really, this is a wake up call. Do not sit outside. If you are living in South Florida and you're not bringing everything together to own a piece of property here, to be in this game, you do not even realize the amount of disservice you're doing, not to yourself, not just to yourself, but sadly for generations to come.
Your kids need to own
They
a
will
home.
not forgive
This
you.
this story that says, "Boy, real estate is so expensive, my kids can't afford anywhere." Don't buy that. There is always a way. Let them find a place. Let them have some roommates. Rent out some rooms. Figure it out.
Or join them. I mean, yesterday I have a client I met, and her son is 19, and he took a job as a host in one of the restaurants.
Right.
And he is about a year doing it. He was out of school, and he said, "Well, I'm going to take a break and join the service industry, and then eventually see what I want to do."
Right.
He is co-signing with his mom. To go buy this property that they're renting.
Yes.
Guys, there are times, and I've been saying this for years, at least 2 or 3 years, that we're going to be exactly like Seattle, Manhattan, and all these places, that owning something is going to be impossible. The window has not shut down yet, but you need to open your mind. And there's another thing I want to talk about. After this show, and I've said it after every shows, a lot of shows, go back and look at your 401k and your retirement account. And you've seen in some...
I'm not laughing at people's losses. I'm not. It's just sad. So rather than me sitting here and crying, I just have to say, it is such a travesty to see the erosion of equity in those investments, but not in real estate.
No, and that's...
Not in real estate.
I have people that are telling me that they're paying close to $3,000 a month in rent.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They want to buy a house. The way their budget works, while they can find the $3,000 a month, they're not able to find the $25,000 they need to buy the house.
Right.
But they have a 401k where they have $40,000 and they don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
And I'm baffled. I'm going, this 401k was 75. That's down to 40. This is the time. And then here's the sad part, Dax. That's what breaks my heart. There are communities that have figured this out, guys. When a duplex comes in the market, within 2 days it's gone. Because there are communities who have figured it out. They're going into their retirement account, their 401k, to take it out, put it up for rent, buy investment properties. Some are coming and saying that, what, I have this little amount. If I can buy a condo, I'll go take a condo. At least it's an appreciating property, even if it's putting only $200 a month in my pocket.
Yes.
At least I'm not gonna sit here and go, the money's gone, I don't know what happened to it.
And just like those guys we talked about earlier, the first property they bought, they actually had a tenant in it. So they ended up having to subsidize that rent,
Yes.
meaning the mortgage payment was a little bit more
Yes.
than what the tenant was paying.
Yep.
But with proper advice and guidance from Vanya,
Yesterday,
they
we
went
rented.
ahead, and they now that lease is up. They put a new tenant in, and they're now cash flowing how much?
They're cash flowing about $500, but do you know that the tenant that was living in that property when they bought, from the tenant they got, there's a $900 difference in the rent.
The rent has gone up $900.
Yeah. So, and it's a no-brainer. I'm not going to... Convincing somebody is something I cannot do. But my job is to share the knowledge with you. Whether you pick it up and put it to use or not, it's up to you. Just like in your field, if I come to you, you can only tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
And guys, I am talking to so many people, and sadly, they are not getting it. I'm talking to a lot more people, thankfully, who are getting it and putting every dollar they have. Money is going to lose value. It's a given. When you go to
Well, you have to explain what that means. When you say money is going to lose value, it's because of the printing of
and
money.
inflation.
Well, the inflation, there's no other reason for inflation in any economy ever except for the printing of money. And that this idea of money being printed I don't know how many people it makes sense to, but just understand that if there's a hundred million, $1 trillion, you see those numbers are what get us so far out of whack that we can't even relate to them. But I'm saying, if you have $100 million and somebody prints another $100 million, your $100 million just dropped in half. That now it's a supply and demand structure, and it's pretty simple. The more money goes in, the more real values go. Real values are like commodities, so the lumber prices, metal prices, oil prices, and don't just look at your low gas prices. Those are being subsidized. So real estate is the place that most of that extra money that's being printed is going in. We hear about these large corporations buying up tons and tons of real estate. They're buying up the real estate because they have that cash. That cash is trash. They need to convert that cash to hard assets, and that's why they're buying real estate. You can do the same thing.
You can too. The choice is, are you going to keep looking at, and I'm not attacking the 401k, but at the heart, at my, deep down in my heart, I'm a hardcore businesswoman. If an investment is working for me, I will promote that investment as, there's no tomorrow. But when there is an investment, and above all, it's an investment that I am actually relying on to live my, old age, golden years, as they say, because I know that I'm not going to have the same kind of energy, same kind of work that I would be doing or getting. And this is something I'm relying on. How can you sit there and look at all? And I'm talking to not just people, that are in their 50s or 60s. I'm talking to people that are in their 40s. They started their job at 20 years ago. They work for, BSO, or they work for the sheriff's department, or, there are many listeners' family members who do that. And they've put a decent amount of their hard-earned money for the last 20 years that they're and these jobs have matched exceedingly. Yeah, we'll double this up and we'll do this and we'll do that. Well, where is all that today?
Yeah.
I had a meeting literally the day before I took my flight with a gentleman. He works for BSO, and he said his 401k was at one point 300,000, and he's down to 180,000 now.
Yeah.
And I said, I wanted to shake him to say, okay, you see now, now let's put that in perspective with real estate. All of that happened to him in the last 7 to 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I need to tell listeners that if he had bought a building using that money at that time, and then where that building would be today, as far as, So, and then another thing, everything has a silver lining. If the rates are up, that is your opportunity to get in, guys. Let me repeat that. The rates are up to give local people an opportunity to finally get in. The rates are not that up. The payment difference of you buying today versus you buying only that little window we had beginning of 2021 where the rates were low. 2020 was bad. They were low in the beginning, then COVID happened and the rates were high. We forget. Ending of last quarter of 2020 and the first 2 quarters of 2021, just those 3 quarters is what people have made as the entire cycle of real estate since they've been in Florida.
Well, it's the media. That there's a media narrative that gives us the negative, and we constantly hear about the negative, and we're not recognizing there's an agenda to steer you away
to not be
from opportunity.
If you bought today versus last year at this time in 2021 when the rates were low and it was great, 2 things would be happening. If you bought at that time, you would have paid extra because there was a serious shortage, rates were low.
People were paying over asking price.
Right. So at the end of the day, you would have paid more money, right? When you compute all of that into what the payment would be, because that money came from somewhere.
Right.
And the rate was 3.5%. Yay, we're happy. 2.75%. Life is awesome.
Yeah.
But today, that same thing is going to say cost roughly 5%, right? The payment difference is not even as much as about $200 to $300, guys. And when you look at your monthly bill, you spend more than that on Amazon. You know you do, right? So again, all of these things you will not know till you call us and we have a proper discussion, understand and evaluate your situation. Moral of the story is this, I have to say this. This seems like it's that last tail end of that window that is there right now for locals. We're going to be here. We're going to be doing business with people who get it. We're going to be doing business with investors. We're going to be working with people who are moving from up north. We're fine. And we have invested our money rightfully into real estate that, we're okay. But the local South Florida people who are not buying or who have these investments otherwise that are dwindling or who have children that they know are going to need a home and are not stepping in to say what to do or involving the children to go buy a big family home. This is really, really serious, guys. We have to act now.
Well, we're here. If you want to reach out to us, the phone number is 954-866-2171. I want to tell you that after doing this for the last 33 years, there's nothing that we can tell you over the ear that's going to get you where you need to get to. I've never seen somebody, I hear people tell me, well, I heard your show and you encouraged me and I eventually bought a house because of you, and God bless you. But I'm telling you, there are lots and lots of people who that simple text to us to say, hey, I've heard you, I'm interested, what can I do, has given them tremendous amount of support, from dealing with the credit issues, from explaining the fears and concerns that they have, to sometimes resolving marital issues, because the husband has one idea, the wife has one idea. Why are you smiling?
I don't get those calls, thank God.
What?
I don't know how God has made this. He usually gets those more, or I transfer that to him because that's where I freeze. But you're right, because a lot of times, actually you're so right, because a lot of times, and a lot of listeners would agree, they're not able to make these decisions because one or the other family member is not on the same page.
They don't have the right information.
Yeah.
And where would you get this information? Where would you learn about real estate and how real estate works? I was lucky that my dad, my uncle, my aunt, most of my family members were investing in real estate from a child. Vanya was in India.
I was lucky because mine were losing money. And at 7 years I was trying to shake them to say, no, don't do this.
Yeah.
I'm gifted in real estate.
Yes, you're gifted.
Yes.
You are.
Okay.
I'm telling you guys.
I make very good coffees.
Well, we could go through your list of talents.
I tell you guys, you have me. Call me. I've got you.
954-866-2171. Now listen, there are lots of other great real estate agents out there, and we're happy to work with them as well.
Yes.
If they give us a call. We're focused on the mortgage side, and I'm going to spend some time towards the end of the show to really give you my own vision, my own, commitment, making sure you're getting amazing service with wire funding. But if you're listening this morning, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, you can reach us by text at 954-866-2171. Going, good morning, Miss Gordon, how are you? Donna Gordon, happy to seeing you out there. To listen about the WFS, Mr. Duke of Earl, thank you so much for taking the time to give me some space yesterday evening. Mr. Dennis Hines, thank you so much for taking the time to bring me on your show. Looking forward to working with everyone out there to share information, to encourage people to get into real estate, understand more about it. No, don't just rush out and buy something. Speak to us. Let's help you make a plan. It's not about getting in today. It's about being able to stay in it. Miss Pearl, I don't need to call you. You had a shock with your escrow account going up, and you're seeing your taxes and insurance. There's an escrow shortage. We're going to show you how to solve that problem and get yourself back on track and get your payment where it needs to be. But the bottom line, when you're buying a house, don't just focus on the mortgage. You need to understand about the real estate taxes. You want to understand about the insurance. You want to understand what your insurance are options that you have. You could go with a very low deductible and have a high premium, but you can also go with a high deductible and a much lower premium. Depending on what the situation is, we're going to help you to make a plan for yourself.
It's a very detailed process, guys.
Yeah.
And that is why a lot of people get scared.
one-on-one. And that's what we have. We have a system where through the text messages, 954-866-2171, you send us a text message, we start a conversation. Then we'll get on the phone with you. Vanya has no problem. Hundreds of people that we're talking to. Right now, you know, our database is over 14,000 people. We're working with those 14,000 people. And the reason we do these shows is because for those 14,000 people are listening to the program. I can help them understand, but then one-on-one, we're sharing information with them at a whole different level. We call it a direct personal relationship, and the way that you get that is to reach out to us. We can't have a personal relationship over the air, over the YouTube, over Facebook. It's based on your direct contact with us, and the phone number to reach out to us is 954-866-2171. So what else is going on with you, Anya?
With me?
You've been studying all week. What you been studying?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought it up. So, guys, I love to study. And a lot of things.
She's a nerd.
Yes, I put me back in school. I think I should go to become a lawyer too. What do you say?
Go ahead. You and Sar. I
know, right? Sar is going
to law school together.
Sar would never forgive me for this. He would say, if I'm doing business law, can you do something very different? I don't want to ever see you there.
You don't want to be in the same class.
Oh my God, I would, but he would.
Yeah, I know you would. Tanya is one of these moms that every grade, every homework, she's checking it all day long. And Sar is a great sport. He gets good grades.
No, he's slick. That's what he is. Anyways, we're not going to get into that because I know he does shows and I don't want him to really. But yes, guys, I'm so excited. 2023 is an awesome year. Every year is an awesome year, but I like to give myself certain goals based on what is happening around me in business life, in personal life, and personal is personal. We really don't share much of that, but
you don't.
Yes, I don't.
I like to share.
Okay.
I like to give all my personal information out.
And others without.
Yeah.
And mine. Yeah. So we're not doing
So everybody knows you're in India. You left for India and you didn't tell anybody you were going. Every show I was on before that, I told them, Vanya's in India, Vanya's in India, Vanya's in India.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Those extra 10 people that were to call me, it's your fault. Then you guys call now. But guys, looking at everything, I made a commitment, and this was about 2 years ago, that I really, really wanted to understand the insurance business to see, because again, why it started with understanding how people were losing their investments that they had put in with their 401k, with the stock market, with so many other ways. And through that, because of real estate, I was having those conversations with people to say, okay, where can the money come to buy? And I did have money there, but I actually don't. And then through that conversations, I got introduced to insurance, health insurance. I'm not talking about property insurance. And it really fascinated me. It fascinated me.
Life insurance.
Life insurance, Medicare, Medicaid.
Sorry, I have to interrupt you. We were listening to Duke's show yesterday, and he had that story about Hussein Bolt losing $60 million.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't invest it in some street corner. He invested with legitimate money managers who I'm sure were the top of the fraud. We know things are crazy, and we want to just help you find your way. So go ahead, talk about insurance, but I just had to mention that.
Yeah, and just understanding that, I got introduced to the insurance world, and I realized again how many opportunities people had to put their money into the right insurance plan that actually earns you tax-free interest, and it is not tied to stock exchange or any other areas where you have any potential of losing the money. You may earn a little less interest, but at no point are you going to lose your money. And that was very fascinating. I went ahead and I instantly got my blended, I wouldn't say instantly, it required a lot of studying to get my 215, the blended license. And as I am now, I'm ready with the insurance aspect of it. I have already been very grateful to help so many people get into these policies. And that's another avenue, guys. You know, we are truly, in true sense, your one stop shop to help you find solutions towards your investments. And there are policies out there. So if you're nervous, very nervous about real estate, because it's not everybody can be a landlord. But at the same time, you're looking at your money and you're going, at this rate, I'm not going to have anything left. And here's another thing. I do have to say this. At the rate things are changing and how fast they're changing, it is our responsibility to protect our children and give them as secure a future as we can as they continue to grow, because they would be squeezed out of this whole thing. If you are sitting on some extra money, and I'm talking as little as $200 ex surplus per month, and you have a 8 or 9 year old in your house, please, let's talk how you can set up a policy for him or her to have at least his college education paid off. If he chooses to use that money for college, if he or she chooses to use that money to go ahead, let me give you a scenario. If you have a 9 year old person in your child, and you decide, you know, if you put in the college fund for them, remember, when the time comes, that money may not be as much as they need to go pursue what they want to pursue.
Right.
But because of the way you are investing for college fund, they are disqualified to get financial aid. If you're going straight for the college fund,
Okay.
typical college fund plan
Right.
is considered income.
Yeah.
So when they apply for financial aid, more than likely, either they won't get exactly what they're looking for, or they won't get it, period, at all. Versus if you take that $200 to $300, I'm going to give you a scenario of I did with a client, 9 year old daughter, and $300 per month is what they're going to put into this IUL policy, right?
Right.
Which is going to earn them tax-free interest. By the time that kid is 18, like another 9 years or so, roughly about $48,000 to $52,000 is what would be accumulated for that child.
Okay.
Okay, and all of that is tax-free. That is not necessarily only for the education. If the
Right.
child says, I'm going to go open a grocery store, I'm going to take this money to, do pursue a different career, they have access to that money. And if they, on top of it, want to apply for financial aid, that's not considered income. So they're
Right.
okay to go for that as well.
Okay.
And here's another thing. They can take it over from you.
Right.
So once they're 18, like this young man who's helping his mother now, and he can find that, $300, and he can continue paying into that policy.
Right.
So it's like by the time they're in their 20s, they don't even know, but they have this huge investment sitting for them.
Yeah.
So that is something that, again, we are also offering the information about how to invest your money in insurance policies, how to protect your assets and your life through insurance policies. And the one that excites me the most, which I'm going to talk more as we go more into this year, is the options with Medicare, Medicaid. I know a lot of our listeners are in that, area where they're requiring those kind of benefits, or already have plans that may not be serving them. So I'm partnering with some big, insurance leaders in the industry to bring to you so much information about it.
Would I be correct in summarizing that in order to truly help people develop a comprehensive strategy, we have to look at, in my opinion, the first thing is wellness. You need to be well. You need to be
That's
able to
the
take care of yourself.
Yep, the foundation. When you get into insurance world, the foundation, the first thing you're learning is preventive care.
Yeah.
And a lot of these policies are built around preventive care. About wellness, assurance is really a term.
Yeah.
People who are familiar would know. And from there we go to, okay, what happens if you're not well?
All right. So now you're well, and then you need a home. You need to have a base, a place where you're gonna protect your family. Even if you don't have a family, you need a place to lay your head, somewhere to sleep and feel confident that somebody's not gonna, come and kill you in the night. You need a home. So first you need wellness, you need a home, then you need to realize that no matter where you're living, there is a tax. There's a tax that's there. And insurance is one of those strategies that allows you to balance out those taxes. That if you don't understand how insurance is a tax strategy, then you don't understand anything about investing. You need to understand how to use insurance. Why do you insure your property? You insure your property against loss because that property is going to deteriorate over time. That property is exposed to the natural elements. A fire, a hurricane, a flood can destroy that property. So you have insurance against those losses. But we also know that you're going to die. And you're going to die. Life insurance is an insurance policy for your relatives. You're not going to benefit from your life insurance. Your life insurance is going to protect your legacy, the investments you've made, the things that you want to leave for your family. A life insurance policy is going to protect it and allow your family to enjoy it tax free in many cases, but you need your own strategy. Everybody's situation is different, and what we want to offer you at Wire Funding
comprehensive solution
is a comprehensive solution.
And if you have none of these, you don't own a home, you don't have any insurance strategy, you just nothing. There is most of it is not to us, is not about you call and here's an insurance policy.
No.
You call and here's a house
We're not selling anything.
or we just did a loan. It's about developing
A strategy.
This couple.
Yeah.
From the first
Getting to know you and developing a strategy.
yeah.
A plan.
Yeah.
Right. A blueprint.
Yeah.
A step-by-step plan. And you're listening this morning, you've heard us for years, you need to reach out. Even if you reached out to us in the past, tell us what your plans are for 2023. 954-866-2171. I see a lot of people on Facebook saying hi, good morning, and everything.
That's my aunt from India.
Yeah,
Happy
yeah.
New Year.
So 954-866-2171. A simple text, start the conversation. Say, listen, I'm listening to what you guys saying, and it don't make any sense to me. That's all right. We send a text, we send a video to give you a little overview of what we do and why it works. If you have a plan already and you want a second opinion, an evaluation of what your current strategy is to see whether or not we can make any recommendations, great. If you have a plan that's working and there's nothing we can offer you, we're going to tell you there's nothing we can offer you. Congratulations, you're doing well. Keep doing what you're doing.
Wait, and then that's because right now it's time to file your taxes.
Right.
And I know there are a lot of people who are nervous that because of the way they've been working with their income, it's like CNAs and business owners, that always comes in their way when it's time to own a home.
Mm-hmm.
Before you file your 2023 taxes, it would be and if buying a home is on the agenda, or if refinancing a home that you already own,
Right.
because you have other bills, or you want to tap into the equity to go invest into more real estate.
Right.
Before you file your 2023 taxes, it would be very, very good, necessary that we have a conversation. We look at all the details, have a discussion with your accountant, and then help you develop a plan. And sometimes it may be as easy as, okay, this is how we can execute this right away. And sometimes it may be, okay, now we're going to start and take this year and the following year to go ahead and have the whole thing structured. Guys, people don't get anywhere overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people get to big places and they lose it all overnight. Please remember what I just said. There are very few of us who are at this place, at a very basic place in their life, and overnight they get to the top.
Yeah.
You cannot, you can't count even one person or two in your circle. You may have heard stories that, this guy hit a lotto, or this guy was discovered, or this girl was made a model overnight. That still didn't happen overnight. They had to go through the whole process. However, people who have made it, and if they have not secured their assets, can lose it all overnight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People who've done everything well and have secured their assets as well, have done it all right, but have not protected everything with proper insurance and tax strategies, could lose it all overnight People die overnight all the time, but because of that, their loved ones could lose it all overnight. This is something very personal to me. I've seen it within my family,
Yeah.
that some of the family members doing extremely well and sadly not having proper strategies, how overnight everything and the lifestyle that just goes away. It's not there anymore. The point is not to scare you at all. The point is to help you understand there are strategies, there are plans and programs just designed to secure all of this. It is up to you to see, okay, do I want to listen to people who know about it and take advantage of it, or do I want to sit in my so-called comfort zone, keep looking at some investments that I know are just constantly losing money, or I'm okay dealing with my landlord who I know is not going to care about me. He's going to continue to keep raising the rent and not look at how I can bring everything together, or look at my children and go, I've put them in school, that's more than enough. I put food on the table, that's more than enough. They can figure out when it's time to go to college. A 9-year-old can figure it out how to go to college, right? And then
College is the right place for him. Not that everybody don't need to go to college. So what other strategies are there? And I'm telling you, IBIUBU Global Ministries is about that education. My goal, from the day one, starting in this community, in this business as a mortgage broker, understanding real estate. My first time was, why rent when you can own? And that's important, recognizing that the expense of renting was something that everybody could convert. I heard you talking to a lady earlier on this week. She's paying what, $3,000 a month for rent?
yes. Mm-hmm.
What's her strategy? Why would she continue? Why is there anything that she needs to change in order for her to become a homeowner?
Yes, she needs to know 401k is losing money.
Yeah.
And use the assets to go ahead and put it where it's going to work for her. And it's so funny because all the homes we found, because again, like I said, it's not about you called and let's put you in a house. I was able to show her that let's see what you can get if you were to listen to what I'm explaining to you, which is you may not have that much liquid cash, but you do have a 401k that's already lost quite a lot that you could tap into. And you did listen to me, did all of that, and then you could buy today,
right,
based on what you like and what can happen, bringing the two together. Every single home had payment less than what she's paying for rent. So it's and that wasn't at 2% interest rate, guys. That was at the going market rate.
Yeah.
But a typical FHA loan program at the going market rate.
You don't know what you don't know. Let me say that again. You don't know what you don't know. And a conversation is a great way to learn. A conversation, we learn every single day. That I couldn't sit here and tell you that duplexes are moving up the market, in hours. Let me say that one more time. People who are listing duplexes are going into contract overnight. They list the property today, and before the next day, they're in contract with somebody who wants to buy that property. So if you're somebody out there who's been shopping around saying, I'd love to buy a duplex, believe me, you gotta move fast. But we don't know it because I just figured it out in my head. We know this because we're in the market every single day. I'm not coming to you to try and sell you. I'm coming to you to educate you on what we're seeing happening in real time in the South Florida market. And if I didn't say it before, let me make sure I say it again. Say it clearly now. Florida is number one in the entire United States as far as where people want to move to. Why? I know there are lots of great reasons. I love Florida. I've always loved Florida.
Tax strategies, the weather, and again, the work from home facility that people now have tapped into. And it's only going to get more and more about work from home kind of lifestyle for people. So why would you be in a really cold place or in a very tiny studio?
Florida cold right now, though.
That's a gift because
Well, a cold day, 2 or 3 days. Is that gift because of what?
I came back. I love
Okay,
cold.
you needed to be cold.
Florida is like, don't leave, come back, because Goa was very warm for me.
Yeah, yeah.
I do want to talk a little bit about two people who have properties and they're thinking of selling their homes. So the first thing, and I know other realtors would think I'm absolutely crazy, but I am in a way. Don't sell. If you can keep that asset by having a conversation with us, by involving family members. Yesterday, I had a conversation with a client, and it may be possible that her children can buy the property from her through a gift of equity, and
Right.
the situation can be resolved.
Yeah.
So, my first advice to you guys would be don't rush into selling, because you can sell and you will still, mark my words, get top dollars for it. I cannot keep my listings in the market, like I said, more than a week because they're priced well, and all of them still are sold over the asking price. However, if it is determined after having a full conversation that it's not going anywhere, there is no way to change the situation, and selling is the only option. So you could, improve the whatever the situation you are in, or you just
Well,
absolutely.
you're speaking in some generality. Let's speak specifically. If you're struggling with a property, if you're in a situation where you had a modification and you just haven't been able to work it out, they haven't approved the modification yet, don't
And you have
sit on it.
bills that
Don't sit
yeah.
on it. The public wants to take your house. They want to take your house. And I'm saying, negotiating at this point,
It's not
maybe
gonna work.
the best move is sell that property, get out from underneath it, and then look at what you can reinvest that into. That's what Vanya is really trying to say in a very, pleasant way, right?
Yes, that like I have people who, after discussing, we determine that actually selling is the only solution,
Yeah.
because of course they have the modification issue, this and that, plus they've charged up the cards because it's just not working,
Right.
and it's just tight, and they're at this point where they start missing payments and the credit takes a hit and all that craziness. Yes, then it is a good idea to sell, and it will sell really fast. If it needs a little bit of jazzing up so that it can sell, or a little bit of work, we thankfully have the whole structure in place to
Yes.
help you get the property to the place where it can sell, and work everything out within the sale, no problems at all. But when you sell, let's be very careful. We are not going to sell to put that money back into the bank and let the inflation eat it all up.
Yeah.
So if that is the option, let's do it, but absolutely with a plan that a good portion of that money is reinvested. And if it cannot be into real estate, at least let it be an insurance policy that keeps your money secure but keeps earning you interest. That okay, in the term, if I get in any situation, I have a decent savings or investment that is not losing money
Sure.
on me.
The foundation of every investment portfolio should be your real estate, real estate assets. And then insurance to protect those assets. And then other type of investments like Bitcoin. You want to talk about Bitcoin? By the way, if you've heard me ever talk about Bitcoin, I want to tell you, you need to get a hard wallet. You need to get it onto your own wallet. A Ledger Nano is one of the top wallets that's recommended out there. I've talked about Coinbase, but I've come to learn and grow because I'm learning every day. I'm telling you, I am learning every single day. I know me. I know what I want. I know what's important to me. I don't know Vanya. I don't know what Vanya needs and what Vanya wants. I listen to Vanya to learn what she wants because these things change from day to day. Likewise, with kids, they all have their own minds. Everybody's mind is able to create whatever they want. The biggest problem we have in our mind is that we create these conditions. And a lot of these conditions are working in our subconscious hold us in with certain positions to keep us away from our abundance. And IBIUBU Global Ministries is my effort to educate and share with people tools and resources that they can create abundance for themselves. If you want to reach out to us, if you've been listening to us this morning, you can reach us at 954-866-2171. We love to encourage you to send us a text Texting is the most efficient way for us to really engage and have a conversation. But absolutely, we get on the phone and we'll talk with you, we'll discuss your situation, and we'll find a solution. Real estate financing, and now insurance are the things that we're focused on. But most of all, we're focused on you, getting to know you and helping you to find your way. We don't know what's right for you. We know that when we talk to you, when we listen to you, when we pay attention to you, we can help you. We've been helping people for over 33 years to reach their goals, to stay on track, and to deal with issues as they come up. Because life is not about just always up. Life has ups and life has downs. And I know that. I've been up, I've been down, but I'm telling you, it's always feet on the ground and paying attention to what's coming next. Being present to the greatness of life, being grateful for everything that we've been able to experience, and now more than ever we feel that we're in a great position to advise you. If real estate, if mortgages, if insurance, and even we don't sell wellness, we just want to encourage you how to do the simple things on a daily basis to get the most of it out of your life. One of the things I'll tell anybody the first time I meet them is skip breakfast. Give up breakfast. And at this stage in our life, 1 meal a day is more than sufficient. If you want to be well, if you want to lose weight, if you want to feel good, give up breakfast and try and get yourself to where you're eating 1 meal a day. You will see absolute great results in your life. What you say, Vanya?
That's true. That's a lifestyle habit for us now.
Yeah. All right. 8:52. We have 8 minutes left. We have about 6 minutes left. Anything you want to share before we go?
Basically, Dax, just that lots and lots is moving and moving really, really fast. But by no means I can sit here and say that real estate is the game is over, and it's not gonna work out if you didn't buy then. If you don't get a 2% interest rate, there's just so many different aspects to it, so many different. I'm right now very excited. I'm working with a client who had some investments that worked out for them, and they are taking all that money to put into real estate. So I'm going to share just as an example, what the strategy we developed for them. So obviously the first thing was, well, maybe you want to buy a duplex, a triplex, or a 5-unit building.
Right.
And they explained to me that they had a bad experience with that because their family member owned like a 8-unit building in certain areas, and then a couple of duplexes in certain areas, and they were in charge because that family member didn't live locally or had to travel a lot, and they went through very bad times, so they kind of were not so excited about it.
Right.
And then we sat down and we said, you know what, we're gonna help you develop a strategy where instead of buying one duplex or one 5-unit building, you're now going to be able to buy 3 properties with the same investment, and these are all going to be in absolutely gorgeous neighborhoods that allow rentals without any restrictions.
Right.
Coral Springs, Pembroke Pines, Margate, Tamarack, all really nice communities. So we got to work for them right away, and we were able to find a good link, although I don't know how many of those would be available tomorrow, because people are not fools. Everybody's learning this and quickly moving to acquire these kind of assets. But typically those properties, these townhouses or condos that we were able to find for them, in general, they all had a payment of, based on his strategy, between $2,100 to $2,400. That's what he would pay. And when I say that, I'm actually including the maintenance fee. That scares everybody, but people forget how many things it includes. Right?
Over the years, I've heard people say, yeah, but I want something, but I don't want the homeowners association. And I'm like, I understand the fear. I understand,
Homeowners associations, when you're buying especially an investment property, is so needed, guys.
Yes.
These guys are your eyes and ears.
Somebody looking out to make sure the property is maintained
and if the
properly.
tenant messes it up, guess when the tenant goes somewhere, this association more than you has to verify they were good.
Yeah.
So the tenant will never. My first property was in a townhouse with an association. When I went to collect rent, I was so envious. She kept it so nice. I was like, my God, I wish I could have done that. Oh, you decorated it so pretty. And at the end of the day, she ended up buying it from me.
Yeah.
But coming back to this client, this now is so interesting to me because he's going through one of those no income programs, the hardcore investor. So obviously, first thing people would go, well, that's just now it's going to have a really high interest rate because even then the rate was higher on it. Yes, but listen to this. Even with that high rate, even with all of that, each payment landed between 21 to 2400, but each rent was at least $400 to $600 more than what the payment was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even in this scenario, I have a few clients that are saying, we're ready to make a move to buy an investment property, but the interest rates are scaring us. So I will confirm this to you that even with the current rates on typical programs, the rent is still gonna outdo.
All right. Listen, let me summarize this whole show from start to beginning. Inflation is upon us. And inflation is upon us because our government has printed exorbitant amounts of money. That money coming into the market is going to cause rents to go up. It's going to cause real estate prices to go up. It's going to cause food prices to go up. Your gas prices are being subsidized, but you're going to see rates go up across the board. Your income hopefully will be going up, but it won't go up as much as rents or as much as real estate prices go up. And we're saying to you, the strategy is to own something. If you don't own a house, you need to try and own something. If you have kids who don't own a house, you need to have a conversation with them. Have them call us. Let's help them to come up with a strategy. Maybe you can co-sign with them. We don't want you to take on unnecessary debt. We want you to prepare yourself and invest for the future. The future is now. Now you have to pay attention to what's going to come next. If you're sitting on the sideline waiting to see prices come down in South Florida, you're going to wait forever. Reach out to us, 954-866-2171. Send us a text. Tell us what your concerns are. Let us help you to develop a strategy step by step. You want to look at our website. You can go to wirefunding.me. You can check out dasdon.com and you can check out IBIUBU.me. All these companies have one basic goal in mind: to give you the tools and the information so you can make an informed decision. But you really want to talk to us directly in order for us to really be able to share what we know with you, but more importantly, help you develop a plan that's right for you. The phone number again is 954-866-2171, and we look forward to working with you and taking you through step by step to your ultimate goals.
It was a pleasure, guys. I think I spoke a lot. I had so much built up for a whole month. But lots more information coming next week. Really excited. Give us a call and we're here to help you.
All right. I tried to play the song at the beginning. Let me see if it will play now.
Will be the the pastor, what about all you know? Ring it alarm, another sound in that. Whoa.
11:70 a.m. All right, guys, we're out of here. Take care.